You want to guess what I bought the other day? Just a guess.
A chess set?
Yes, but not any chess set. This is a 1960s Korean hand-carved soapstone chess set.
Where does something like that come from? Oh, well, Korea. But...
A lady brought it in, and I think she inherited it and wanted to sell it. And so it's made out of soapstone, though.
And it's like multicolored soapstone. That's cool.
So I mean, it's like it's
red
all hand-carved.
Huh.
It's pretty cool.
Is it painted as well, or?
No, it's just...
No, that's just the color of the stone?
Yeah, it's just like this one looks like his beard was colored.
Perfect.
It's just part of the stone.
Huh.
It's pretty cool.
It's very, can you
I bought that the other day.
Asian inspired? You can't say the O, never mind. Can't say Oriental anymore, I don't think. But yeah, that's wicked cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You don't see stuff like that often, especially, like, you'll see cool stuff, but that's very unique in what it is. I also purchased something recently. It's a dagger. It's from the Third Reich. It's from like 1938-ish, which is pretty cool, but it's a Luftwaffe officer's dagger from World War II. Again, the Germans would have used it, as indicated by some of the markings. But, I mean, this is a true blue, was carried by some sort of Air Force officer, the Luftwaffe, one of their officers. Yeah, crazy neat, wild piece of history. This is something that probably would have just been like formal wear or like Class A's as we know them, some sort of like dress attire. It's not something they would just be like toting around in the field. But yeah, crazy cool piece. I mean,
that is, you don't come across that every day.
No, especially in, I mean, this
YouTube don't ban us.
This isn't perfect condition, but most of the time these things got destroyed. I mean, a lot of times it was like shame. People that carried them, they would get rid of them, like burn uniforms, get rid of any of that kind of stuff, crack the symbols off of them, like eagles and stuff. But yeah, some weird stuff here lately.
Yeah. Welcome to Pawn Unloaded, where cash is king and weird is just another Tuesday.
Bling on the counter, stories untold, gold chain memories bought and sold, hustle in the air, dreams feel corroded. Welcome to the shop, we pawned and loaded.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful July 4th weekend. I did. We went down to the beach, soaked up the sun a little bit too much because of my Neapolitan ice cream.
Show them the, oh wow. There's
Vanilla,
a hard line there.
Strawberry, and chocolate. So,
I mean,
I don't need sunscreen. I mean, it's, I was under an umbrella, but it don't matter when you're at the beach. Because,
no, especially where we are. I mean, our sun is it's different. We have a different sun than everyone else on the planet. Ours is actually stronger. It's like something to do with location. It has to be, though.
I could tolerate it more if the daggum humidity wasn't so bad.
Yeah, no, you'll like choke to death with our humidity. Actually, when I moved back from Salt Lake down here, it was like a crazy shock. I mean, it was weird going out there, but adapting to like dry heat and dry cold is nowhere near as bad as adapting to like humidity in general.
Yep.
But yeah, we've been in the new shop for 2 months now, dude.
Yeah, the move was absolutely brutal. That stupid Penske box truck. Hey, man, I was
if we ever
exhausted.
have to drive a Penske box truck, drive a box truck in general in the future for work or whatever, I have pretty high confidence because we probably spent 48 hours total, like, amass time in that thing, if not more.
Was exhausted, dude, but we finally knocked it out.
Yeah.
And if y'all have been in our new store, I mean, it's 9,000 square foot, so it's significantly bigger. But if you look at the floor, like, it's pretty much full. And oddly enough, the stuff that's in here is what was in the old store.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah.
Like, we didn't add nothing. Like, I think we added, like, 2 of these cases for display stuff and, like, the gun rack where, where the 22s were on the floor at our old store. We just put them up on a rack. But
got a second set of racks, man.
And, like, if you walk in here and you look, and people are like, oh, man, y'all added some new stuff.
Not really.
No.
I mean, there might have been some stuff that came off the pull list, but,
And we have been pulling some stuff, People ain't been paying on stuff.
Pull list is an interesting thing.
Yes.
It's always pretty fun. I like the pull list. I usually stay, if you come into the store, you'll probably see me in the corner in the dark. It's kind of shadowy over there. They usually keep me there for, really just nuisance issues. They keep me in the corner for that. But no, I mainly work in the used pre-owned firearm section. And that's pretty much the only thing that you'll see stuff new coming out at this point, aside from new retail guns and new calibers, stuff of that nature. But for the most part, yeah, like all those ARs, pretty much all the AKs, like we've obviously backfilled some of the stuff from our back stock, but there's not a whole lot added. We were just stacked on top of ourselves so deep down there. I mean, it really was half of this floor space in the front, right?
Yeah, because I mean, whenever y'all see us post on Facebook, the pull list, putting stuff out for sale, that is the pull list is stuff that is on the forfeit list, on pawn. Yeah. People come in and they got a loan, like we talked in episode 1 about what a pawn is, what a loan is. They come in and they get a loan, but they don't come back and pick it up. Well,
eventually now we're pretty lenient as far as pawn shops go. I would say that we're probably one of the more lenient ones as far as
and I mean, because the prices figured it out, and so just for y'all's knowledge, or if there's any other pawnbrokers that listen in on this, or eventually, he's figured out the old way of doing things was, you do a loan on something, somebody gets behind, you pull it, mark it up, outright, and try to sell it and get rid of it. But a lot of them, they mark it up so high they can't sell it.
There's no quick money there.
And once you sell it, well, that's gone. The customer may not come back because they're embarrassed because they lost their stuff, so they go to the next
or pissed
pawn
off,
shop.
even just kind of like, hey man, I mean, I was going through a hard time, whatever.
And so prices figured out, somebody does a loan, if it gets behind, because I mean, we have stuff in here that is still 5 months behind, but people, they can't come up with the amount of interest to keep it current every single month, but they can come in every other month, or they
at least pay some level of interest on it.
And so what we'll do is we'll look at that pull list, and if we see payments that are made within a couple of months, or we see that they've made 8 interest payments over the year, they're trying. And we'll hold on to your stuff as long as you're doing that, even if it is behind and I can sell it. Technically, it's ours. It's forfeited. But people are paying interest payments, and I see that they're trying, and so we don't pull their stuff. We keep it for them, And so he's figured that out, and we'll even knock off a little bit of interest so they can get it out. And that way they can pick up their item, they leave, and there's a chance that they're going to bring it back.
It's incentive, it's encouragement, to be a return
customer.
And so,
we don't want to lose them as a customer. And so, we're lenient, in a lot of areas, But if I look on there and something was pawned in December of last year, and no interest payments have been paid on, and it is July,
it's ours.
I'm assuming you don't want it, and I'll sell it.
Or you've passed, but we're going to contact somebody.
Right. And so, but that's what the pull list is. And so when stuff comes up on the forfeit list, people aren't paying on their stuff, I'll pull it off the list and put it out for sale. So if y'all see that, I know y'all like those posts. A lot of people comment, and we get a lot of sales off of that, and I try to do it whenever I can. Facebook is really restricted on firearm stuff.
Sales of firearms.
If y'all see our posts about firearms,
it might be a little cryptic sometimes.
I can't put anything on there, and that's a lot of why our old page got shut down. It got deleted because it was flagging. It was even flagging stuff from back in 2016. And so that's why I can't really put out information about firearms on Facebook.
Well, that recent giveaway we did. It was just like a picture.
It was very
You
vague,
could win
very
something, and then there's a picture of a suppressor.
And I'm just hoping that you know what it was. It was a Soundtraco Sparrow 22 suppressor.
And, he came in today and everything. It worked, but you do have to be super safe with that. And that's the thing. It comes down to, like, your advertisement, you're really getting limited on that side of things, which is an aside.
So, I mean, they're really strict on that stuff. So, some people, they'll comment information about it, and I'll say, hey, shoot me a message. Because I'm afraid to even comment what it is and prices.
I wouldn't even comment, hey, it's for sale.
And
it's like,
Facebook, they go on there and block it, and so it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But the move, It went good.
Yeah.
I think it's going good. We finally figured some stuff out, you know, because in that old building, everybody, it was so small and
There was an
cramped in there, and everybody was there,
workflow,
you know,
yeah.
and everybody was there to
Mhm.
help everybody.
Mhm.
And now that we got into here, it was a learning curve because, you know,
It took us, what, a month before
nobody
we were
was
like,
over here on the gun side.
right, yeah, it was empty before because I was on pawn.
Because we're so used to being at the pawn
Mhm.
counter. And
Mhm.
so it was real easy to come in through the front door and slip over here
Mhm.
and not be seen or
Mhm.
looking at guns and not be helped and leave, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't want customers to be like, well, I went to that new pawn shop.
I got
and
ignored.
Nobody helped us, you know. And there was a time too, we were so busy, we were still moving in.
Yeah.
And we only had Lexi standing over there.
Right. And then
we
Derek.
couldn't help everybody, you know. And so I try to stress that to people.
Right. I think we've covered down on it pretty good at this point as well. And the headsets, that was a big thing. So with a larger shop, we did have to find a way to communicate that wasn't like say it with your chest type of, you know, thing. We're not going to like inflect our voice across the shop. It scares people. So that was like one thing it took to learn and to understand that we needed. It wasn't just something like, oh, that'd be nice. No, you in a space this size with the level of like communication between employees that we have, you do have to have like something like that.
I mean, like being in this metal building too, you can't yell across. You can't hardly hear anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, and
you'd
so
have to really be
walk
screaming
all the way over here. You know, so we got headsets, and so now we can communicate, which has helped a lot. But moving you and Derek to the gun size, and so y'all do gun sales, you know, and then Michael and Lexi and Mason when he works part time, and I'll be in my office.
Yeah,
and
and
try
it's
to help
nice having you and Mason to kind of bounce.
when I can.
That works good.
You know, and so now we got it kind of balanced out a little bit. And it was, but I mean, it was getting in here and doing all this. It was overwhelming because I mean, we swapped new software. We went from our handwritten gun forms and books to digital. You know,
and we actually did 2 switches. We did like the switch to one software that we thought we were going to be able to use on everything, and then it was like not really what we needed, so went back to a previous one. So it was like kind of a double switch there, so that was another like hurdle to jump over.
And so I mean I took on, we swapped from Pawn Master to Pawn Mate, and I love Pawn Mate. You know, it's awesome, but learning to do that, and so I took that, made it my baby, and focusing on that, and then coming over here, having to train y'all on it, teach y'all how to do it, and then learning the E4473, swapping to fastbound, and then learning the fastbound. But the whole manager thing, you know, I've been the manager, you've been the title of manager,
but you're like
at the old building.
Different role at this point.
Over there, I was a pawnbroker at my station. I had my cash drawer, and I did loans, and I was a worker.
Right.
You know, and Price kind of wanted to have me step back and manage, and be like, hey, Michael, Lexi, you know, Hayden, whatever, y'all have y'all's drawers. Somebody come in, and I'd be like, hey, you can do this much on this item, and then you do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I've been here for 6 months now, I guess, almost 7 at this point, right at 7. That was like one of the main things, was finding you and having you like give me the, first of all, just like, I mean, I have like a little bit of knowledge about firearms, guitars, that kind of stuff, vehicles a little bit, but really having someone show me like the retail side of things and the like the business side of it, rather, because I've grown up coming in pawn shops, man. Like I've never utilized a pawn service really. I mean, maybe once or twice, but for the most part, my dad was like, "Hey, man, it's Saturday morning. It's 6:30. Get up. We're going to the pawn shop as soon as they open." And we did. We would come to the Julia's location, and you know, I was this little kid running around and everything, but it did take, like, I thought I understood to a degree, but it really did take someone who has been in it for like over a decade, right at a decade now, right? To just like little like breadcrumbs of stuff, even. That, I mean, it's like you were talking about Price. It's tricks of the trade that you learn over time.
I mean, Price has been in the business over 20 years. You know, me right at 13-ish, a little bit more than that. You know.
Well, now we've been here this long. Was it almost 14 at this point?
Yeah. And so I mean, but me learning everything from him, I try to rack his brain on everything, and just over time, it takes time, you know, and I'm not a patient person. So when I first started, I wanted to know everything.
Right. Yeah.
But you can. I mean, it just takes time. I mean, with the whole jewelry and the coins.
See, that's one of the main things.
Somebody walks in.
Yeah. You
hey,
want to
Tyler.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know,
they come to you.
Yeah.
This is a random aside, but how does any of your, and this isn't really to do, it is, but I'm not going to politician you. How does your like leadership method compare from E6 in the Army to Tyler Zug at Goldmine Pawn? Like I've wanted to ask you that for a while, but I wasn't sure like when would be the right time. This seems like a good. Is there any like like crossover between, or is it a different leading style? Like,
it's kind of similar, but it's a lot of it's the same, but it's more of.
Like, do you have to get in
I mean,
there
I'm a
with your
butthole up
Joes?
here, you know, but I'm a little bit more of a butthole.
Well, you have camo on. You have
In
a
the
chance to,
army, you know,
like,
because you have soldiers that don't do the right thing.
So
And
I guess maybe to be more direct about it, with the military, and like I know to a degree, but I want to ask you as an NCO, but like, do you have to be right on top of your Joes doing stuff in the Army? Or is it like, is there a similarity here, like where you can kind of go to your office and like, all right, I have stuff to do. Go away. I'm going to do this for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is there any type of...
No, a lot of the time I have to stay on because of my section in operations. I have another E6 with me. We have a 7 that's kind of attached to us, but we have 2 E5s.
Okay, so
that
they're
are
kind of
there.
Yeah.
And so I'm tasked to make sure that they, you know,
we
do a lot of training ops stuff. And so I have to come up with the training plan and everything to execute and help with that and be a part of it.
But you do have a 7 above to help you with that kind of thing.
Right. And he pretty much files everything down to me. But the 5s, I say like, all right, look, we're doing radio training, SINGARs.
Find your Joes.
Make your PowerPoint, you know, this, whatever, and then they do it. And then I go in there and I say, okay, you need to critique this. You need to do this. Okay, have you done a visual?
Right.
Because I'm visual. Yeah. Some people can read something and be like, okay, I need to see it. Like, I need to see you bring out a radio and
borderline
say,
break
this,
it down.
This. And I'm like,
Barney style.
And I'm visual, you know, and so I'm like, okay, you need to do that. And so, you know, kind of guiding them and trying to help them with that because they started on their PowerPoint and the video, the visual wouldn't come up, wouldn't work.
Right.
Luckily, I told them, hey, you need radios there so they can start, you know, get your battery packs, get your mics, and, you know, and so they were there. I said, all right, so instead of doing this, you need to get a radio and punch it in and walk around and show them how to do it or whatever. And so we kind of diverted and did that.
Versus
and
video.
We marked that off the list, you know. And so, but it's essentially pretty much the same, just trying to lead and guide people and say, hey, do this, don't do this, you know. And so
there is a level of that here. I mean, obviously it's leadership in general, but do you feel like you can be less hands-on with your employees currently than you can with your Joes in the Guard?
I have to keep a watchful eye
on them.
Okay,
so there are
here some, I can let y'all pretty much go.
Yeah, it's more autonomous.
And I try to do that.
Right.
But you know, y'all know that if y'all need something, y'all come to me, and that's why a lot of times I'll just ignore you. Like if if I see somebody comes in and Lexi's trying to help them, and I know Lexi's new, and you know she needs to learn whatever. But like if she thinks that she can handle it, okay, I'm gonna let you handle it, whatever. If you need me, hey, I need your help with that. Okay.
I think I'll probably call you over the radio more than anybody else. But I will say that it seems like you're able to give like a set of directions. And granted, you don't have a bunch of like 18-year-olds that just enlisted, just graduated, like a lot going on in their life type of thing. It's a little different. But yeah, that was a curiosity I've had for a minute.
And so, I mean, and just I try to let y'all do whatever y'all can by yourself.
Is that what Price did for you as like a younger guy getting into this that didn't have experience with this type of business?
I learned the hard way.
So he was like, go work.
That's how I learned is the hard way. Whenever I mess up.
Over there's a register.
No, Price was really good. But with me, because you got to think about it, when we started at Julia's over there, because he moved from McGee. He sold that pawn shop.
And he'd been doing pawn for, what, 7-ish years, maybe a little more at that point in McGee?
Yeah, he'd been doing it for a while.
So a good bit,
because he owned a bunch of rent centers before that. And then
that's right. I forgot about that.
But he sold that to Big D. It's Big D's Pawn in McGee now.
Okay.
Shout out to Big D. But when we got to Julia's, it was him and it was me. And I was like fresh, like out of the Guard, like out of basic.
Like,
you know, and I'm like showed up and I told him, I said, Price, I said, I don't know nothing about that. I said, I don't know what anything's worth. I don't know how to value whatever. He said, it's all right, me either. He said, you just got to fake it till you make it.
Google,
he said, the key is to act like you know what you're talking about and you stick to your guns.
Oh, yeah, Rhodesian fighting.
And I have taken that with me and I have just ran with it.
Like first day, that's pretty much what you told me as well. Because I was asking about jewelry stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't know.
If you're wrong, be confident that you're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
you're a politician, man. If you're wrong, be sure.
But I mean, I've messed up several stuff. I've loaned way too much money. I bought stuff that I shouldn't.
That's another episode.
Common sense of putting jewelry up. I remember when I put the jewelry up, we had all those chains out. And he said, hey, put the jewelry up. Okay. Well, I put everything in the box.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, the price comes out, and there is a wad of necklaces.
Balled up.
Small chains, big
Yeah.
chains. He said,
fix it.
don't do this.
Yeah.
And he made me fix it. I had
Yeah.
to sit there with my little bitty pen, and I had to undo it. And guess what I didn't do after that?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Uncrimp,
So, I mean, a lot of
crimp.
stuff I learned the hard way, you know, and I say, oh, don't do that.
And that's the thing. I mean, since I've started, it's pretty much anything that I can ask. I mean, you've had some sort of experience with it, and if it's not you, then you go to Price.
Right.
And that's, I mean,
if it's something I'm not 100 on, I'll ask Price.
Yeah.
Because he is the ultimate decision maker,
Yeah.
and it's his money and his business that, you know, and so.
I will say, though, this is probably the first, which I've been in the gun industry. I've worked for a few different companies and done stuff here and there. But I will say that out of all my employers, Price is the first one to, even if he doesn't take it into account, he does tend to like ask my opinion, or he will say like, man, what do you think about this? You've seen this kind of stuff before. Like, you know a little bit about this. That's, I don't know. That's not just pawn business in general, but yeah, that's just Price Cook, man.
Oh,
I mean,
Price is the best boss that there is. Everybody comes in, they look at him, and they don't know him.
Right.
Man, he's mean.
He's looking at you like
Price
this.
will tell you, he's like, I have bad eyesight. That's why I squint at you, and I look like I'm
He's getting it worked on too. He's
but he's one of those two that you have to gain his trust as well.
Yeah.
He is an excellent judge of character, but he's been doing this so long, you know. I mean, that's just how you got to be in the business.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Going back to like the pull list and to pawns versus sales or anything, like a lot of it is just, I won't say conditional, but situational.
Yeah.
It's situational at the end of the day, because there are some people that they come in and they're like, hey man, how much would you buy this from me for? And you're like, man, $25, whatever. I don't know what it is. And then he's like, well, how much would you pawn it for? And I don't know how other shops do it. I'm pretty sure it's across the board at this point. People are like, no, it's pawn, sale, like same thing, or buy, whatever. But people will try and get like one over on you by being like, oh yeah, I just want to pawn it, after asking if you'll buy it from them. And then they don't come back. They don't plan to pick that up. That's a different side of the pull list. But
we kind of, we thought about backing up and punting on that and being like, okay, you know, if you want to get a loan on it, trying to feel them out for that. If they're going to want to sell it, you'll be like, okay, well, on a loan, I'll do you $100. If you want to sell it, I'll do $125.
Yeah.
And you'll figure out real quick if they actually want to sell it. Oh, extra $25? Yeah, I just want to sell it. You know, instead of, you know, giving the $125 on a loan.
Right.
Well, now I should have loaned $100 on it.
Yeah.
And so we thought about trying to change that. But
again, it's situational and conditional at that point, because there are some people are just, they're a bona fide actor, man. They're really good at it.
And you have really good customers, like we talked about.
That
one guy. You know? And
Yeah.
so we gave him a fake chain.
Yeah.
To pawn, and he picked it up every time.
Yeah, just a.
But yeah, no, it's definitely it's situation based each loan, you know. But Price is doing a great job, and he is the kindest, and he will take the shirt off his back to help you.
Yeah,
you know?
understanding, man.
And the people who don't know him don't know that, and you have people, even people that worked here or that don't know him, that have come around and got to know him or whatever. Like, man, when I first met you, I thought you was a butthole.
Well, I mean, all through high school,
and then
man.
come to find out, he's one of the best people ever.
Well, I never met Price really formally during high school. I think I like shook hands with him once, like coming to the shop at some point. But Mason and I graduated together, and I thought that he was a butthole all through high school, because anytime I saw him, he was just kind of and it's because he was squinting at you to figure out who the hell you are. And that's just, I mean, that, and I honestly, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but that is probably one of the best restraining orders or something. Price looks like he's really standoffish, but once you talk to him, man, I mean, he is like really one of the best dudes I've ever met. I mean, he provides us the opportunity to do this in his store while he's not here, and he gives us our livelihood. So can't beat that.
We was busy today though.
Whew. Yeah, it was that first.
Loans have gone up. A lot of people coming and getting loans and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that the fourth, a lot of people, and this is just speculation because this is what I did. A lot of people spent probably too much money, maybe had a few too many beverages, and they had to come in here and, you know, recoup some of that and try and figure it out. And again, that's what we're here for. It's not a community outreach, but we do a community service to some degree.
Yep. So, but during slow times, we make prank calls during slow times.
Yeah, those. So I still haven't figured out, and Derek won't admit to it. You won't admit to it. And I don't remember. You might have been there that day. I can't remember. I know Michael Terrell was there. I think Lexi was there full time already. It might have been before she was on with us full time. But I got a call. This dude sounded like Mater from Cars. Like, I can't even do it. Y'all got any squirrel jackets? And I, to this day, still, I haven't Googled it. Maybe I should just Google it, but I'm afraid of it, honestly. Squirrel jacket. Comment below if you know what a squirrel jacket is. I've gotten that call
during the winter time, if you have a pet squirrel, they do get a little cold. You know.
I don't know about that. Okay.
Yeah. So I really don't know who that was. I know Price has done the same to a girl that used to work
here. So Price could have. I haven't asked him yet.
It was Chipmunk Jackets.
It was Price.
It may have been.
It was Price Cook, man. I don't know. Oh, dude, I'm going to get him tomorrow. I've been trying to figure it out the whole time.
But I got a character that I use, a Mr. Vince Barnett.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Vince, he'll call. I had called one time to Tractor Supply. And
you probably got a hold of August.
this girl answered. I said, Tractor Supply. I said, oh, yeah, this is Mr. Vince Barnett. I bought some eggs from Dollar General. And I brought them home, put them in the fridge. And I woke up this morning, and they hatched. And my refrigerator was chirping. She was like, okay. I said, I don't need no chicken. I just want some eggs cooked for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I said, you buy chicken? She said, no, sir, we sure don't. I said, y'all sell them. Y'all don't buy them? She's like, no, sir, we sure don't. They're seasonal, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. You sure you don't buy no chickens? No, sir, sure don't. I said, y'all still got them chicken coops for sale outside in the parking lot?
I need to give me a chicken coop.
She said, yes, sir, we sure do. I said, well, if I come out there and dump them chickens in the cage, you going to stop me? Sir, do not bring those chickens up here. I said, all right, I'll see you in a little bit. That lady at Tractor Supply was probably looking for me all day.
And I know like the management and guys over there, so I'm sure that they're having a day where they do.
Yeah. I called Harbor Freight one time, and Mr. Vince Barnett, I said, hey, y'all got any car stretchers? Car stretcher? Yeah. Like you got a single cab, you want a double cab, you stretch your car. No, let me put you on my manager. I'm not real sure. Whoever guy answered, he's like, hey, I said, you got any car scratchers up there? He said,
cat scratcher.
He said, you talking about like a luggage rack? I said, I don't know. You work there. Is that what I'm talking about? And he was like, I'm not real sure. I mean, we have this and that. I said, I said, well, look, my cousin, he had a Lincoln Town car, and he used that car stretcher about 3-4 times, and now he's got a limo business. You know what I'm talking about? And he's like, I don't know if I have anything like that. I said, y'all got any tools? He said, yes, sir. I said, all right, I'll be down there and get a screwdriver in a little bit.
I need me a screwdriver.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll do that when we get slow. So if you work at any of those places.
That's probably us.
Or anywhere, really. I'm sorry.
I kind of want to call Rent-A-Center at some point because that one dude, or I don't remember what it was, he pulled up in that like moving truck one day and like got out, had like a 75-inch TV.
Yeah, we were pretty sure it was stolen, but I don't know. We never heard anything.
No, I mean, we called over to him and we're like, hey, man, are you missing this? Serial number?
No, talking about stolen stuff. We don't get a whole lot of it. We do get it come in, When we were in the old building, we had some people pull up and they had brand new stuff, like Lowe's.
Like in the box?
Yeah, like in the box, and like the weed eater was still the cardboard wrapped around it,
up as a soft,
And we were like, and like I said, Price is excellent at judging character and the situation. If his spidey senses go to tingling, he's
see
like,
it in the eyes.
So we told him no.
Yeah.
Well, we called Kim Stewart. He was investigator at the time at LPD, and we called him. We said, hey. They went across the street to like George's, right there, Piggly Wiggly,
Were they trying to peddle them out front of George's?
I don't know. Well, they went in. I think they went in and got some alcohol, and some cigarettes. And so we see Kim. He comes pulling through the parking lot, and they pull out, and we're on the phone with him. We're like, yep, that's them. So he follows them, and they pull out on the 16th. He lights them up, and they pull right back into our parking lot, right at the front door right there, and Kim gets them out. Sure enough, they're stolen, and they have drugs on them and the open container that they just bought. I mean, he took them straight to jail, towed the car and everything.
It's called the scientific method.
We do. We get a lot of people arrested, too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, up here
rightfully
working,
so. Well, yeah, I mean, it's 80% of us. I'm not, but everybody else except for me and Lexi. So
And like you said, I mean, we have, friendships all throughout Laurel, and we call people other shops and be like, hey, look, this person,
It's a bit of a network. I mean,
Yep.
it's like, it's not a competition. It's not like we're calling each other like, hey, what'd you sell today? No, it's usually like, hey man, we got some individuals that came in earlier and they're for sure trying to do a straw sale. Just be wary. You know, it's not some, you should call the cops on them when they get there. We don't do that, but you know.
Yep.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, that's one of the things, straw sales, straw purchases. That'll get your, if you are a FFL holder, like whatever your class, I don't know what it is, the classes of them, but if you're an FFL holder, you have to be crazy super careful about straw sales. How many times?
I mean,
since I've been
it's
here, I've
gotten
probably
so
denied like
bad.
4 people, 5, I don't know, maybe more than that, but
It has gotten so bad, and like we talked about before, they've gotten smart about it. They'll get their girlfriend
Right.
to order it online
Or-
and ship it to us, and they'll come in.
Right.
And so there's no us gauging
right,
the situation.
right. Like,
It's
was he
just-
sitting there, or they sitting there right next to you while you ordered it with your card under your name? Because at that point, it's kind of hard to, I mean, you could turn it down if it's that suspicious. Like sometimes it's almost blatantly obvious, but some criminals, because that's what it is, it's a criminal act. Some criminals are way smarter than we give them credit for, and we give them a lot of credit a lot of times.
Yep.
And so I mean,
it gets a little sus whenever an 80-pound female comes in on a transfer.
Yeah, for like
and they have a full-size Glock 10 millimeter.
Right. Yeah, it's the Glock 40
and
long
their hand
slide.
can't even hardly wrap around it. You're
It
like,
can't.
okay.
It's like, did you even look at one of these before you purchased it? Or yeah. Typically, it is like significant other, sibling, whatever, that has some sort of charge, and it might not even be. What's crazy? And this was before I was more educated, but every felony is going to exclude you from purchasing a firearm from a dealer. Some misdemeanors, if you have a violent offense, it might stop you from purchasing a firearm. I had a guy the other day, and he was like, yeah, it wasn't a felonious thing. It was misdemeanor, domestic assault, violence, whatever it is. It's a violent crime. You don't get a gun now.
FYI.
Yeah.
If you're convicted of a felony.
Yeah.
And this one guy come in, did the background
that
check,
was 40
denied
years
him.
ago, man.
You sure you haven't had any charges or felonies or anything like that? Oh, yeah, man, that was 25 years ago.
It's like, well, that's still there.
Okay, well, it's still there. And the thing with it, like expungement, the state may recognize it,
right?
But
the federal government does not.
They do not.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the background that we run is through the feds, and they say no go.
Yeah.
So
because you have a felony, even if you were embezzling money from Enterprise Rent-A-Car, that's a felony. If you were convicted of it, that's a felony. You can't legally purchase a gun from a dealer.
Yep.
And you're not supposed to be in possession of them either.
Yep.
That's what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's something that we have to watch out for, be super careful about, because we can have our license revoked and jail time. Straight to jail, like that, like really fast.
Well, we get them crazies come in and we weed them out pretty good. But
I
mean, also get the other side of the crazies as well, you know.
Right. Yeah, like
people bringing in fighting chickens and stuff like that.
Right.
Somebody brought in a fighting chicken in a cage.
I've heard of that one.
We said we don't take anything that eats. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
people try to pawn their kids too.
I mean, I don't have any kids right now. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't pawn yours. She's actually cool and like productive and intelligent.
Yeah. Ooh, talking about gold. I just thought about this. Price reminded me of it the other day. You know, because gold is freaking $3,300 an ounce.
Well, yeah, it's extremely volatile too.
And when we were in Julia's, it was stupid low.
Yeah, what, like 1,800?
I'm about to say maybe even like $1,000 an ounce. I mean, it was low.
Well, that was also.
And we had a guy come in, and he walked up, and he was actually kind of like looking all kind of squirrely like, and he was like, "Is there anybody else in here?" We're like, "No." Okay, I'm going to go out and bring something in. Can you lock the door behind me? Me and Price were like, "Is this guy going to try to
rob us or
shoot the place or rob us or something?" And he went out and he had like a little rolling suitcase, brought it up the counter, put it on the counter, opened it up, and it was slammed full of jewelry, gold jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, rings, everything. And we were like, golly, so we went and locked the door. And he was like, a lady at the church donated this so that we could get a new organ for the church.
That's
like,
awesome.
Okay. And so we, Price and Bridget at the time started going through it. took them forever to do it because, you know,
well, it's what, 40 pounds of gold?
And jewelry is tedious. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
do it. We have to itemize it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we're required to do that.
Right.
We, you know, pawn laws and stuff, we have to itemize it.
We itemize it. Now we take pictures
Can't
of it.
really bulk it unless
Yeah.
it's scrap and not,
Right.
you know, we can, but so you have to do every single one. And so Price got his number up and he's like, before I tell you, how much do you think that it's worth? He was like, man, I was hoping for at least 7,000 because that's how much the organ is or whatever. And Price said, well, I'll buy it from you for $20,000. And he's like, so if you want to buy 3 of them, you know, you probably, you know,
you could do so.
And he was just like, holy cow.
Yeah,
But
like this is
I was
awesome.
thinking about it the other day and I was like, what if we had that much steel? And of course you can't play that game back then, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
you know, going up,
You
you
can't-
still have
yeah.
to, your cash flow
Right.
has to go, you know,
Right.
but imagine what I do. Like, what it'd be worth now. I can't remember how many pennyweights it was.
I mean, it probably would be wise of us to start keeping an eye on like estates and like guys that do gold, silver, any of that kind of stuff. That, I mean, those guys already know they're bang up about going to estates and stuff. But I remember a local shop several years ago before they converted to pawn. They bought out like a dude's gun collection after he died, and there was a bunch of ridiculously rare crap in there. I mean, just like weird old Browning, like anything you can think of, like old war guns, old hunting guns, whatever. They bought out like a ton of crap from him, and whether or not they managed to make that lucrative, I don't know, but that's probably something we could keep an eye on just because of like bulk gold, classic firearm stuff, whatever.
Yeah. And I think we may talk about some gold testing and some coin stuff maybe in our next episode or something
it'd be cool
like
to do
that.
like an
y'all,
episode
y'all
about it.
in the comments, y'all drop some ideas of what y'all want to hear.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're here just to banter and just kind of tell what's going on
Put
at the
information
shop
out.
or whatever. If there's any other pawnbrokers that listen in and we give any kind of business advice that you may want to change, because there's a lot of pawn shops out there that are old school still.
Yeah.
You know, we've always done it this way.
Right.
The holy cow is walking around the business. Well, somebody needs to shoot the cow and something needs to change, you know? And so we also want to give stuff that we've done that's stepped up our game, you know? And so, but we'll try to come up with a little bit more stuff to say, and weird stuff that's brought in, like the Korean chess set. That I think that's the first one I've seen.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those. I've actually never seen one of these.
Third Reich, I mean the dagger.
Either. I
you
mean,
know,
this
the
isn't
parade
something
dagger.
to just be like, woo, yeah, this is awesome. But it is a piece of history. It shows us something we need to avoid doing. Again, as people, not as like, obviously as a country, we didn't do this. We helped stop it. But
I mean, we get some cool stuff in. So, I
it's
mean,
neat, man.
we'll try to pop some more stuff up like that.
Yeah. If you like history, you see a lot of cool stuff in here. You'll probably see it on the podcast. You'll probably see it on the pull list.
I'm a history nerd. That's why I like coins and stuff. Anything old and stuff. You know, so in my office, all my little coin collection. It's nothing major, but it's different oddball stuff. You know, a 2 cent, 3 cent, a half penny. You know, just random stuff.
I'm super into like Soviet era stuff. I don't know why. Since I was a kid, though, I mean, I've always admired like Soviet gun design, some of the like brutalist Soviet architecture. A lot of that bled over into like the way that they made their currencies and the way it was designed. A lot of that stuff's really cool. And again, it's historical. It's something that, whether or not it was good or bad or whatever, it's interesting. It's potentially valuable, and we can probably resell it. So I mean, it's
and we'll talk guns too. And so you know,
that's like. We have all the time in the world for that.
Yeah, and so we'll try to come up with some more stuff. Like I said, this is just episode 2. We're just getting into this thing.
I think it'd be cool to provide like some sort of insight on how we test gold. Yeah. As far as like the tooling and equipment that goes into it, because some of that stuff is becoming more and more affordable as far as just like your scrape blocks or whatever it's called, that like stone that we use, that kind of stuff with your acid kits. You could essentially do that stuff at home and be able to test stuff and confidently know that you're bringing in something that's,
I mean, the fastest thing is a big earth magnet.
Yeah.
Big, heavy magnet.
The strongest magnet.
Not a fridge magnet.
Yeah, those won't pick up. No, a rare earth magnet is a way to test your metals. Just that's the initial preliminary. That is the first thing. I mean,
we'll go into that next episode.
Yeah, we'll have a whole.
But the fastest, just a tidbit, the fastest way to weed through all that stuff, if you got Mama's jewelry or whoever passed away and you got some, you get you a big heavy magnet. And if it sticks to that magnet, it's not going to be a precious metal. Gold and silver, they do not stick to a magnet. They're not magnetized.
And typically, you're not going to have a stainless or a steel clasp on an all gold rope chain like that. They make the whole thing out of gold. Like you're typically, just because like if just the clasp sticks, more than likely the whole thing's steel or plated or whatever.
So We'll go over that next episode.
I think that'd be a
But
fun one.
Yeah, if y'all feel free to comment though if y'all want to hear something. I know everybody always likes crazy stories, weird stories, weird stuff that has come in and stuff like that.
If you have something weird at your house,
yeah,
comment about it. Maybe we'll look it up and see if we have something similar.
Yeah, if y'all got weird stuff y'all bring in, I want to look at it.
Yeah, bring weird stuff
depending on what it is. Anyways, well, I think we're going to wrap. Oh, I forgot to talk about, look at that little Pawn and Loaded right here. Pookie made this for us.
Hold on. We got to shout out his business.
Yeah, let's shout out his business.
Slap and Burn Creations. It's John Shelton. He's a local guy with us, one of our good friends. And he does crazy good laser engrave, CNC, laser, like that's acrylic, correct?
Yeah.
And that's
I mean, pretty much anything.
Anything. And it out of state, in state, local, not local, it doesn't matter. If you're in Korea, he will ship there, and I'm not going to say he will, but he'll cover the shipping.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't make him do that. No, he does awesome work though, and I think he is working on slowly trying to get an FFL of some sort, so he can do like clock lowers, all that kind of stuff.
So if y'all got stuff that y'all want engraved and stuff like that,
I wish we had Derek's knives here, man. His knife.
Yeah, I know. We could display those.
I don't know if
maybe next time.
Yeah.
Shoot ya. Well,
fun.
hey, look. Thanks for stopping by at Pawned and Loaded. Cash is king, and weird is just another Tuesday.
Bling on the counter, stories untold. Gold chain memories bought and sold.